Lord of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. Beyond sight. Beyond sight.
Yo, it's Friday night, and it is time for that show again. It's Sight Beyond Sight, and you already know what we're talking about because how we've been doing it every other Friday night. It is WandaVision. It's your boy, Andrew. You already know. With the co-host, my guy, Nick. How you doing, Nick?
What up, what up? I'm doing good. Another great episode of WandaVision. Keeps getting better and better.
Yup.
Yeah.
So let's get this shit going. Let's start breaking it down because that's what y'all want. That's what we want to do. We
Yes.
wait all day to do this. So, Nick, let's go. Start it off.
We're going to start a little different that we do instead of going flip-flopping like we've been doing.
Yes.
We're going to start it off almost scene by scene, but not really because we're not going to take that long, hopefully.
30 minutes.
You know, anyway, this is a spoiler-heavy show, so if you don't know, now you know. Anyway, you know how it starts off with the, what's the show from the 90s?
We are talking Malcolm in the Middle, one of my
Malcolm in
favorite
the
90s shows, yes.
So we start off with the Malcolm in the Middle entrance. Very cool. You see the kids doing their own thing. Get to see the personality. You get to see one of the kids in their actual comic book get-up. Another Marvel hint saying, hey, this is what we're going to try to do.
And you know.
And, yeah. So we go from that to Wanda having her old school costume where she looks sexy as hell in.
Yes. I love her.
And when I first watched that, her coming down, I was just like, couldn't you just modernize it? Like, I love the helmet thing, and I do love the getup, but I know you can't fight in spandex like that, because can you imagine her fighting like that? It'd be kid torn up.
That'd be some interesting
It'll be
shit.
good for us, but
Very interesting.
PG viewers can't.
Yes, exactly.
But I was just like, nah, they should do that for future reference, especially if they're going to make her like the sort of kind of maybe bad person.
Yeah.
I was like, no, put the helmet on her. Like, you can modernize that to make it look really nice.
They could. But you got to remember at the same time, it is the 90s aspect of it, so it has the 90s cheap cosplay, I'll say. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to put it. Like, it's not so updated. I mean, hell, this guy's wearing boxers as his overpants, you know, Vision, obviously, for people who watched.
Yeah, that's the second part. He comes down with his famous old school super yellow, super green.
The original look. I mean,
red,
besides the modern look, you know.
Yeah, like it's an original look, very corny though, but purposely.
But honestly, like we're gonna go into it like since I'll touch on the opening, how you said like we're talking about Malcolm in the Middle as like the entrance. Yeah, if you remember watching Malcolm in the Middle, you know how the beginning of that show started. It's so literally identical. It was obvious.
Yeah.
And then after that, like I was unexpectedly thinking like, you know, because they switch a lot, that they weren't going to stay in that same vibe. And then they went right into it. And it's like pretty much a Malcolm in the Middle episode that I wasn't expecting. Like, because they doing the talking, breaking the fourth wall, talking to that.
Yes.
But what hint towards, in my opinion, I feel like that's them showing like, hey, trust us. When we get Deadpool going, we're going to be able to do this as well.
I was just about to ask that of you. Because that's what I was thinking, too. It's kind of like, all right, you broke the fourth wall. And I felt like they did that in a couple of episodes, but not to that point where the kid is actually talking to the camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that a way to like to make Deadpool work in the MCU?
And makes it more believable. Like for the fans that are timid because Marvel hasn't gone to that level of uncensoredness and different storytelling, I guess you could say. That's their way of showing like, nah, we could do this. Like, we know how to break that because that's pretty much what a lot of this episode is. Yeah,
that is very true. But they do a lot of comic book homage to it. Again, so we're talking about the costumes, the first couple scenes. So Vision comes down the stairs. He looks like the ghetto version of the real Vision with the super like bright colors. Then you have Pietro doing the super comic book version of Quicksilver with the super blue with the white outline and the flash symbol on him. So I thought that was cool. And then he got the other kid who actually in the comic books is called Speed, who has basically the same powers as Quicksilver in there doing like making his own same thing. But if you notice that he was wearing green throughout the whole beginning of the episode while his brother was wearing the actual costume, because in the comic books, he's basically has the same getup as Quicksilver, but green. So that's the whole concept of that. But in that scene, if you notice a few things, which kind of took me, and this is all in the beginning, like first 5 minutes.
Yes.
The kid talking into the camera, like Malcolm in the middle. He's noticing all the bad things that are going on with, like, I feel like he knows a little bit more. Cause
he's talking about how the parents are fighting different. Yes.
When Vision's acting different, and that's another thing that I loved about the show. Vision can't be controlled, and he acted a little dark because when he came down the stairs, he was like, "This is the only thing in my closet," and he came with an attitude, and she was like, Wanda was like, "What are you trying to talk?" And then he had to kind of flip it, like, "Oh no, you're incorrigible." And
exactly.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But when these things are happening, the boy's talking to the camera, but the quote unquote Quicksilver, now getting to who my theory of who he is really. He keeps looking. He was listening to the kid, and that's why he went up to them. He was like, "Hey, everything's good. I'll take the kids out and all that." So, and I know we're like, it sounds like we're rambling, but you got to understand the show because I'm not going to say everybody's dialogue. I'm just pointing that out. So you know what I'm saying, where he comes up and blah blah blah. So anyway, when Quicksilver comes up, if you see him, he's listening to the kid that's talking to the camera. Then he goes and tries to, make the situation better. Then then it's like the whole, okay, we get the suits, and Vision leaves saying that he's gonna do like the what's that shit called? The
he was basically gonna do the neighborhood watch. Yes.
Neighborhood watch. So again, that's after that scene, we go back to Sword. We find out a few things. Apparently, from the verbiage, Photon, her person that she's calling the aerospace engineer, that nobody knows who it is yet because everyone's hinting that it's Fantastic Four and blah, 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 is a guy because of her verbiage. Like she said, "Oh, this guy, I want to meet this guy over here." Okay, blah, blah, blah. But even with that, this is my theory on Hayward. Hayward is his name, right? That's the leader of Sword right now. The
Sword guy, yeah.
So... because he's coming out and you could tell there's something up with him. You could tell from day one there's something up with him. I really think that, I don't think he's Mephisto. I don't think he's a superpower guy. I think he's just another Hydra / AIM
something
agent.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, because he's hiding something, and that's later on in the show we'll get to. But what happened in that scene when they were going, the first scene with Sword?
They start off with the scene with Sword. Basically, what happens is Darcy, Monica, and Wu, they go to confront them.
Yeah.
About everything that's happening. They show the droid as well that they had in the last episode.
Yeah.
That Wanda brings and throws back at them, and they show that it's still under Wanda's power.
Yes.
So that's the droid, one of the main things. Like, her power still was able to be out of the hex.
Yes.
To go into where it's going.
But that's the whole reality thing, because it's the same thing with the Monica Rambeau's dress. Yeah. And then she figured out, like, oh, she just used what I had on, reconfigured it, but it's still the same. It didn't change back to normal. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty smart. But if you notice, when they were bringing the droid back into the base, and with having Wanda's magic all over it, they were in those yellow beekeeper-esque scientist costumes. Yeah. But if you notice, it's only the people that are, quote unquote, the scientists that are handling the shit that are in those suits, but it's in the open. They're not in a room, and everyone else is walking around them without the suits. That's AIM. Like, to me, that's AIM.
I could see that.
It's just, they could say probably in the MCU it's part of Hydra too, which would be fine. it'll make sense. You could pause it right here because I want to talk about this. But yeah, so we get from that they kind of fired them, sort of, kinda, and they want to do their own thing. Then we go back to the WandaVision. Then they do the Halloween, the trick or treating. Now, once Wanda and the quote unquote Quicksilver are walking down the street, he gives off a lot of hints.
All right,
if you
so
notice,
you're talking about
when they're walking down the street trick or treating in the daylight.
The daylight part. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I get that part. He did give off hints. Because I just want to jump in.
Yeah.
Just say one, they had the guy who played the Frankenstein, the same dude. I can't remember his name. The black guy. Basically, I'm gonna be honest about it. It's the one black character. Mm-hmm. Besides Monica and shit like that, but in the Hex.
Not to cut you off.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's almost like a jab at old sitcoms because you had a token.
Yeah. But he interacts. We're gonna just to wrap that part. This part's up.
Yeah.
Interacts. One of the things for me, just being a nerd, it's fun to look around and look at the costumes to see what costumes they show for that point in time. There was a part of me that I'm just speaking for myself.
Yeah.
If you look over Wanda's shoulder when she's talking to him, they have I guess it's a scarecrow, you could say.
Okay.
But it looks very evil. It's a very different devilish image to it if you actually look at it.
And it's staring at her.
Yeah, and it's just staring.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like, it's even when they steal the candy, they do the spray thing.
And it's all of that. It's just there. Like, it's one of those within what we're gonna get to in a second, and I'll bring it up real quick. That part where right before we get to the night walk with Quick Vision and Wanda, what Vision sees, what Vision ends up seeing from the community. Because we got to get to that.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that because he doesn't see it yet that much.
Nah, yeah, but I just wanted to say that I'm a little rambling, but I'm really I really wanted to get to my real point because I just had a question I wanted to ask you because I'm not sure. Like, one, I'll say this, like, hey, you can shoot me if you want, and we could fight about it. I didn't really watch a lot of the last X-Men movies. I watched skip-its, I watched little things. So I think we talked about it. We touched on it last episode when he came back and they debuted Quicksilver. We were talking about how his powers worked in the Fox universe.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of the slow motion around. I don't recall them showing him doing the speed the way he was doing it in the show today, in this episode today. So a part of me made it feel like it's like a redemption part. For Quicksilver, because it was like very unexpected, and you seen like they never even touched that stupid slow motion shit.
Yes,
they just the normal speed that we seen that Quicksilver did in Age of Ultron, and just what makes sense.
And I just got to say on top of that, because I do have a theory about that, and this is what I'm happy about because last episode I thought that was their way of bringing the X-Men into this universe, but I think they're going to do it different now. I think having him in there, maybe I should wait. I'll explain. Yeah, we're gonna
to that.
But
later,
I do agree because I just
wanted to ask that because I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
like I seen it and I was like, did he do it? But have the slow motion scenes?
No, he didn't.
And I didn't know. Like I wasn't sure
throughout the whole episode, and he didn't do the thing that he did in the X-Men movies, which is hold the back of your head so you don't get whiplash. So basically,
okay, so he would slow you down. Say,
he I guess in the X-Men movies, he went so fast that he has to, if he's gonna grab you, he has to hold the back of your head too, to
make sure,
and then push you.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to talk physics, okay, but we're talking about a movie that we want to see cool shit happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna praise X-Men movies.
All right, but that was just a question. But we get through that now, like, because that was just my personal question and wondering.
But I don't know if you noticed, there was a few things in the daylight when she's walking with Wanda.
Okay.
So, two things that I could point out right now that I can remember. One, he brings up, first, I'll say first because this will happen first. when the kids go off and run off, he was like, "All right, you devils," or something like that.
Yeah, he
Like,
goes,
and
"Oh, go
cause
you
havoc."
little hell demons, yeah, or some shit
Again,
like that." Yeah,
that's one thing hinting towards Mephisto, because in the comic books that was part of Mephisto's souls were in those kids, and that's why she wanted the
yeah. No, I
the
definitely
kids.
caught that. That part, I was when we ever if we want to talk about it now, we can talk about it now.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take us into probably what you want to say later. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
So I can
we'll
bring
get
it
into,
up.
because
Yeah,
I think that's part of the theory section, right?
yeah. That's a bit.
Yeah.
That's
So
our
we'll
theory
get back
sense.
to that,
Yeah.
because I have a couple actually.
Okay.
But then after that, he says something, 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 and then he goes, "Oh, kick ass," and then he goes, does his super speed. Then she goes, "Kick ass." The reason why they bring that up, again, another homage.
Two.
Kick ass is a comic book
Yes.
that was made into a movie.
Awesome movie.
That's made by not Marvel Studios, but Marvel Comics made the Kick Ass comic book. In that movie, you had the guy who's now Silver Surfer in MCU and the guy who played the original Silver Surfer in MCU. And they were both in that movie. The reason why he wasn't in, the guy from X-Men, the guy that's in the WandaVision, he wasn't in the second movie because they actually had a problem, because they were both Silver Surfers, and I guess they got into an argument and they recasted him in the second Kick-Ass movie. But that was a homage to Kick-Ass, and this is why, again, I love Marvel.
No, it was
They
smart.
were just like, hey, we know they were both in the Kick-Ass movies. They're both Silver. I'm gonna say Silver Surfer. My bad. But
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver, and that was another homage. It was like a couple little hints.
But those are the simple like callback hints, whatever you want to say the name. But it's like this is what just shows like whoever directs the episodes, because obviously anybody with a brain knows that not every episode is directed by the same director.
Yeah.
And the writing is almost as similar writers and da. But to get to what I'm trying to say is basically that's them knowing, yo, listen, the internet world, the Twitter world, everybody, once you've seen what happened in the last episode, oh, we compare and contrast, and then you're thinking y'all ahead of the game. Yeah. And they're showing us that no, we already know that y'all are gonna speak on this.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's why I love Marvel, because and this is why I try to explain to DC people that are just random fans. I'm just like, that's the comic book, like the random people that are just watching the show because they like the movies and they think the show's kind of cool, but they don't know the comic books.
Yeah.
Don't understand that aspect of the kick-ass thing.
Nah, definitely.
But just the fact that Marvel always does that for other fans. They give a great storyline, they give great characters, and then they give the homage for fans and stuff like that to make us all interested. But let's get past this scene. So
we're done with that.
So the black guy kind of says what he got to say. He's calling out things before they happen, which is weird. But he does say, like, hey, Wanda, you want me to change anything? Which makes me think he knows what's going on, too. Mm-hmm. Which makes me, I'm trying to think there's something up with him.
I think there's certain people in there that they're it's like, that's why, oh, wow, I can't remember his name now. Sam or whatever his name is, the guy from the last episode where Vision first did the touch to the brain. Basically, that was a hint right there, because he was already saying things like he knew what was going on in a way, and then once he got his head cleared, he started speaking different.
Okay.
And that's why I felt the same. Like, there's just certain people in the Hex, like when he was talking to Agatha on the wall, and they're talking about, don't say nothing, like, I already know that these are people that they kind of caught on already.
Yeah.
There's this theory of Wanda not saying that she's not strong enough, but there's a lot of power that she's using to control everything. So she has a little blind spots.
We'll get to it when we get to the last, but she does mention in the show she doesn't know how she got here. Mm-hmm. She just knows what's happening in a sense.
Yeah.
But going past that, so I think it goes right into the commercial, right?
Yeah, the crazy
the shark.
The clay animation shark yogurt commercial.
So this is where I got it, and I haven't heard anything on the online speaking about this part. What you're about to say, like, let me ask you what you thought about it, and then I'll tell you.
All right, I'll tell you straight up. Watching it at a 5 o'clock in the morning aspect, half asleep, half awake. It was like I was like, oh, it's like K animation, like the simple minded part of me was just like, oh yeah, like celebrity deathmatch, There was a lot of K animation things that happened in the '90s that, were popular, so I get it. So I was just like, oh, the kid's gonna eat the yogurt, everything's gonna be fine, whatever. They'll have some Easter egg pointing to Hydra or some stupid shit.
Yeah.
Nope. It was just let's watch time go by as people die. And yeah, because that's how it felt. Like it was just like, why is this kid struggling to open a thing and he's going to die? It is yogurt. I've never seen people. If you struggle opening yogurt, you have a problem. Honestly,
I was just watching it.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on?
There's so many ways to open yogurt, and you struggle to open your. You could squeeze the whole damn thing, and the yogurt will overflow, and he died from it. But nah, on the reality, like I felt like, and one of the things about this episode is like they have, and it's just been a series, a subtleness of darkness, and that
the whole series.
yeah, like there's that part where you think it's gonna be this, and then why did it get so creepy, dark, randomly? And that's something that's very smart and cool. So, no, I thought it was honestly it was random, creepy, cool. I don't hate it. I don't know. I didn't see anything that I needed to catch, Easter egg or anything. It was just one of those things where I was just like, damn, he ended up dying there. The only thing I could think of right now, speaking of it, is maybe it's a metaphor for being in the hex and being trapped in there, and in their mindset they feel like they're gonna die slowly, being brainwashed throughout Wanda shit. But that's all I could say. And that's like a random theory I just thought of in like the last 10 seconds.
All right. Yeah, I watched it 3 times now.
Mm.
So the first one, I got it like I was just like, what the hell? Like I'm trying to figure out what that means because every commercial means something.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it a second time, and if you listen to what the shark says, and what's the thing called? Yo magic. And he says, didn't he say something like, basically like I'm here to steal your magic and get
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you look at the color of the shark, it's gray and white. What's the color of Quicksilver?
Gray and white.
Gray and white.
Yeah.
The kid that's dying is wearing a red shirt. Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I'm saying I was a little bit happy because I'm hoping this is more of the case than not, because I don't want them to bring the X-Men universe, X-Men,
the character,
movies,
those
and
characters, and yeah.
Because that means their movies are canon, and I don't want that.
Which if it goes to where I think you're leaning towards, then yeah, I fucks with that.
So I'm thinking, because this actually goes into the theory thing, and I can't not talk about this without talking about what one of my theories is. Him seeing him, so he's like, I'm stealing your magic. Like he said, magic is like do this for like the survivors get the magic or whatever the strength is. I forgot the actual words. I wish I could do it. But if you listen to the commercial, he's basically saying, I'm stealing your magic, and it's for survivors.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Wanda's getting, like, she's strong, but maybe she's dying, and nobody knows it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, this character is stealing her power. Now, there's hints towards 2 characters, and this is where my theories come in, but I'm going to say it real quick. Then I'll ask your opinion, and then we'll go back to the next scene, and then we'll go at the end.
All right.
But there's a character that's called Nightmare that's gonna be in the Doctor Strange movie, and everything's hinting towards Mephisto. Now, Nightmare, his power is he gets stronger off the subconscious mind, nightmares, fear, and the subconscious.
And that's a lot of the commercials.
Since the day one, they're talking about dreaming. They're talking and like what happened to all the other kids? Like if you listen to what Quicksilver says in this episode, where were they all? Were they all sleeping or something?
Dialogue.
Da 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 da. Like he keeps saying this, that, and the other thing, and he keeps playing towards her. So I'm thinking he's either Mephisto or he's either Nightmare. That's my kind of theory. He's playing at her. He's not really because if you think about it, and I'll go back to the first scene. Vision leaves. She's looking at the door. He comes back and he scares her. And then he goes like, what are you talking about, sis? Like, da, da, da. Then we'll get to these next episodes in the dark time. And I'll leave it to you.
I'll jump right in on that shit where I'll say, you know what, motherfucker, you probably be right. Because honestly, that's the same way I was kind of feeling. Not because of the commercial, but because of the way he was moving and a lot of things he says that we're going to touch in a couple of minutes going into the last half of the show. He's very weird. He knows too much for a reincarnation. Yes. Reincarnations don't come back in any logic of any theory of anything that you watch. Nobody comes back to life remembering how they died or remembering what happened to them.
And if you notice, he only has basic knowledge because every time Wanda, and this is again a scene that we've already talked about, he asks her a question like, hey, remember that when we grew up and that guy with the weird face and that everyone's hinting that it's Dr. Doom, by the way, which I don't think so.
It's definitely not Dr. Doom,
They were just saying like, and she was like, he said right away, oh, you're testing me. You're right with that. I really agree with you because he knows too much. Like he just knows the basics. So he knows that he died by gunshots.
Yeah, he knows too much shit.
But he doesn't know about because when he talks about their past, and again, this is an early scene that we didn't really talk about, which they had the little. If you look at the ladies, because they were trick or treating in Latveria, well, not Latveria, sorry, wherever they grew up in
Sokovia, whatever.
She had a little poster on the side that had like a atom. So that's a hint towards X-Men, like maybe Children of the Atom kind of thing.
All right.
But going forward, she said, I don't remember it that way. So he doesn't know. He only knows basics, and he's
putting pieces.
Yeah.
One of my things, and like, I mean, obviously I had to do my research and broke down shit, watched it multiple times. I'm not sure. Once again, like I said, like you're the expert in this conversation that we have.
Marvel expert. Remember that, motherfucker.
So he took that crown heavy. I'm pretty sure every time I ever seen Quicksilver, his hair was always a slick back look.
Yeah.
So I've seen some YouTubers, I've seen some people, and they talked about it, and it's like, oh, he looks like the classic Quicksilver. Yeah. But it kept bothering me, and this is why I was messing with your theory, is because I'm like, look at how his hair naturally was once he decided to go and put on that outfit.
Yeah.
It's consistently devil horns. If you have not realized, those are devil horns or goat horns, which a goat represents the devil, then, and this is a little religiously saying that, but that's why it made it easy for me to put that together where he could be an evil entity, because I was just like, Quicksilver never looked like that. Why would they make Quicksilver have that one unique little, like, because he's moving fast? Like, no, like Marvel's not that stupid.
No. See, they over-exaggerated the hair because that's almost like very Wolverine-esque, but Quicksilver in the comic books did have a little thing like that, but it wasn't to that extreme. Sure. Like that, like you totally understand. They look like it was just hairs going straight up to the point. Like if you look at Wanda's kid, he kind of had it on the sides too. Like he had slick back hair.
No, he did, but he had it up a little bit. Yeah. But they're the little demon childs.
There you go. And I think it's part of it. Shit. What was the? Oh, so let's go right to it. So the next scene, it was the shark thing.
Nice. Well, we did the shark. What we do now?
They're moving.
They're walking past the movie theater.
Now you notice the two movies on the thing.
Yeah.
Parent Trap.
Yep. And then The Incredibles, which and two timelines that are so off.
Way off.
So off.
because one's actually 90s and one's
early 2000s. Yes.
This is another thing where they're hinting towards Fantastic Four. Incredibles was a thing because even Pixar said it. They took their ideas off the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's sort of shit. So that's a little hint towards the Fantastic Four, I think. But the Parent Trap is the trap. It's the word trap,
and it's part of what it's the word of play for what happens later on in the episode with Vision that we're gonna be building to. But yeah, no, I completely agree. That's where Dash is like the Quicksilver slash Speed. You know,
he's the quick. Like if you're talking about this universe, he's the Quicksilver. But I also think it's also towards a thing that the kids are learning their powers.
Yeah, and that's the thing because the whole episode they don't truthfully until they got to the second half where we're at right now at night, the kids don't use their powers. It's first Speed using his powers, and then we get swords later at the end where we see Wiccan use his powers.
And then
yeah.
So we're just trying to go scene by scene now, but I know it sounds like we're flip flopping, but whatever. So it goes to that, and if you notice, Quicksilver gets on Wanda's good side a little bit, saying like, "Yo, I'm here for you. Like I'm doing this for you. Like you can ask me questions." He does fuck up later. And it does go back to Sword and stuff like that. Like if you're watching the show, it does go back to Sword here and there. And when it goes back to Sword, and we're gonna I think we should talk about the Vision thing as a whole. Because you know how like Vision, it cuts back, like it keeps going back and forth.
It does like a good like 3-4 minute, then it cuts for cutscenes, So we could we'll break down everything of Sword right now,
and then we go to Vision,
and then we're gonna just go right through Vision, and then wrap it up with the end and go
theories next episode. Yes. So we're going back to Sword. So now they have the triple, the what's the girl? Darcy,
Wu, and Monica.
And they go back to Sword because they got fired, and they figure out stuff because they're hacking the system. One thing everyone got to realize that Darcy is there's two things about her. One, she wasn't like this in the Thor movies, as smart. But there was a 5-year gap with the snap.
She did grow, She did grow as a character.
So you could grow, or she's hiding something because she stood back knowing that there's no way out when they left. And the whole thing is, this is where I feel the House of M part comes in, is when they're there, Vision's trying to come out, and we'll touch right to Vision after this shit. They go back, they hack the system, they figure out Monica's DNA is all messed up. She went through it twice, her DNA is messed up. And, of course, they're hinting at her character Photon in the comic books. Then they're talking about, like, Darcy stays behind because Monica says, "Oh, my guy's gonna meet me at this place, this aerospace guy." Wu's going with her. Darcy stays back to find out more hints because she thinks that there's a bigger secret, which there is, obviously. And Vision tries to come back. So basically that's where it ends until the end. But that's the end of the Sword.
Well, no, let's do more of the Sword a little bit.
Okay.
That happens, and then let's just take, because it's the cuts. They leave. They beat up pretty much Sword people. No, they beat up the Sword people first, and then they go when they start doing the hacking. Yeah. So they're doing that. There's a part where if you look, I forgot the name that pops up when Darcy's doing it. I can't think of it in my head right now, but that's actually the name of a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 stage. Basically, it's a Savage Dance stage.
Oh,
so
why never that came up?
Because that's a name that's not very common, I think, for the comic book. Is more for the video game. Yeah, because I remember that. But that's the Savage Land, because, you know me, nigga, I'm a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 fan. So I
nerds.
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't even notice that. Now I'm gonna go back and watch it like a fourth time.
So yeah, that's there. So it leaves that open, and there's like a lot of little hints within that shit. Like obviously they break down Monica becoming who she's gonna become, Photon, and all of that. But that one, that's like the little thing that stood out to me that was interesting because I was like, oh, like the Savage Land, because we're trying to figure out how to bring in mutants in, and Savage Land isn't a bad way to do it as well, to be honest.
I already know that how they. Oh, well, that's my theory.
Yeah.
But I feel like we get it to the end because of what happens.
Yeah, nah, we could go from now. Like now, we're done with the. So I just had to get my piece in with
that's
Sword.
great because I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I was really trying to look at the folders and
Nah, but it says it on the computer when she's typing. It says it starts with a C. I can't remember the freaking name.
Yeah, it was a weird name.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out, and then they go in the and honestly, they have there's two folders. There's one with a name and there's one with the C on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out both of them, but so far I can't find any information.
Yeah, but that's definitely a stage in Marvel vs. Capcom. So we go from there to
Vision. Go back to Vision. So
Vision seeing the shit he sees. So I'll let you start.
No, I'll let you start.
You want me to start? All right. So we're gonna start with Vision, Vision's doing neighborhood watch. Yep. Technically, quote unquote, but he's not really.
He lied. He cheating on Wanda.
He's out here trying to find the truth because he's
Valentine's Day ain't shit to him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's kind of a funny thing to think about when you're watching this episode for this weekend. Yeah, so he's out here being on some. Yeah, I'm gonna lie to my girl and make moves like a normal nigga.
And that wait, and not to cut you off.
Yeah,
but I just like the way he's acting this episode where he's like, you just there's no other suit I could wear. You like, I felt like he wanted to curse.
Have
like
to
you,
be this person. Yeah,
yeah. But go ahead. Sorry.
So let's get into the creepy. And I think this is one of the fun things about this part of the episode with Vision is that he starts peeping how nobody's moving, but they're on. I guess you could say a replay or like a relay.
Did you notice that
kept crying? Yeah, I was just about to say that. The lady that's on the clothesline doing the thing, but she's not moving. He keeps looking at her, and then you see as the camera zooms in a little bit more and gets a little bit more detail, you see the tear. So it made like, what the fuck? Like, why don't they move? Why aren't they doing shit? So he goes from there, and then we're gonna get obviously we just gotta go. One, I already knew this was happening once he pulled up on the car where Agatha is in.
Yeah.
That it was gonna be was it the other street, whatever street it was that she told the boys not to go to, because it was stopped there. I have a theory of why Agatha acted this way.
Okay.
But that's one of the things about the Vision part that I thought was cool. Like, it stood very dark, and it gave Vision his part of the story where now he's kind of like the protagonist in the Hex. He's a good guy trying to figure out why is this happening, and he knows that he could boom hit your mind, get you to wake up, say what you're saying, and then shut you the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool.
I don't know if you noticed, but remember when he was walking through the dark streets, and this is where nobody was moving because he was getting further to the limit.
Yeah.
And people stopped moving and stuff. Did you notice there was when he was asking that old Asian lady, not to sound racist, but she was.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how are you? Like, are you okay? Are you okay? She wasn't answering. But the two kids, like, the little frames before that, there was a girl dressed as something, and then one that looked like she was decaying, dead. Like, her costume was so, like, vivid and on point. And I'm just I was looking at it like, is she dead? And she just bring her, like, alive? Or is that just a really cool, badass costume for a little girl? But, and on top of that, I was just like, why they zoom in on the Asian lady that much? Like, are we supposed to recognize her?
I don't think we're supposed to recognize. I just probably think it was one of those where they just, it's something that they do is like, they just want to keep the creepiness to it.
Yeah.
Because it does, like, all right, we'll just go right into the Agatha shit. because honestly, that's one of the
basically.
main shit out of it. Basically, him pulling up to her on the car, like,
Yeah.
they give the whole theory. She's sitting there and she's speaking like she can't go past. She asks where is like the town center or town whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know it's double back because if you know the town center, you know what episode 2 was, where they do the magic show. That's where they were. That's like a town center. So she's there. She's doing whatever. Da da da. And basically, she's sitting in the car. So he's talking to her. She's saying that he decides to clear her mind. And she just looks at him and goes, "You're dead. You're dead. You're vision." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" Mm-hmm. That's where it became interesting because now he's saying, like, "What do you mean? I'm like Avengers? Yeah. What is this?" Like, those were very interesting. I could go a little bit more, but I'm gonna just kind of like break it real quick for you to go in. I'm gonna just say what I'm gonna say. I feel like she's fucking with him. Yeah. Honestly, I don't think that she doesn't know and understand. I think she's playing the game. Yes. Yeah.
And I thank God you said that because I was like, that's the same vibe I got because if you look at it, she was the furthest from the people that were stopped. Like he went from people that didn't move at all to her
just playing,
talking. Yeah. Like she could respond, but she just looked out of it, and then she goes like, "Oh, I made a wrong turn." Da, 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 da. The only thing that makes me think like, "Oh man, maybe she messed up." Once he did the mind thing to her, just like he did to his coworker in the other episode. Yeah. The first thing she did is what? She grabbed for her necklace that wasn't there. She kept grabbing for it. She was like, "Oh, your vision, you're this." So I think she's messed with him totally, 100%. Because again, one, you wouldn't either get that far or you wouldn't be able to speak at least.
Exactly.
Two, you're doing that weird. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. And then a maniacal witch laugh, quote unquote, like trying to give hints that she's a witch.
But that's what she did. She did the hard witch laugh for a good second.
And then he did his like little mind thing again, and then she went back. But what did she do? Okay, neighbor, and turned around.
Driving past the street.
She's really, like you said, my personal opinion, she's messing with him still. Like the reason why she probably said no. Help us, like go through it for Wanda to push her powers. Because if she's working with Mephisto or Nightmare or both, or if they're one and the same, I don't know how Marvel's gonna do it.
Whatever they do, yeah.
What you do, whatever, because their kind of character. There's what do you call it? There's the same kind of characters if you read a story in general.
About like the two of them?
They're the same archetype. Loki, Mephisto, Doctor Doom, Sinister.
All right, I get what you're saying.
The same archetype.
Yeah.
They're the plotter, super smart.
Yes.
So it's the same thing with Nightmare and Mephisto. Like they're the trickster kind of. So if Marvel's gonna do that, I'm gonna mix the two. I don't like it, but if you could do it, good, do it. But at the same, then you don't really need Nightmare. But anywho, what I'm trying to get at is, I think she's into it.
Nightmare has a little bit of different powers, when Mephisto has different. Yeah. You know.
So I just feel that, and I feel like you have Ghost Rider now, so you have to have Mephisto. But
Ghost Rider is definitely gonna pop up, and Mephisto's gonna pop up. But let's get into where we still because we're talking about what we're talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, I think I totally agree with you, and I think that she's in on it. She's just playing both of them. Like she's just trying to keep something, but I think she did that for a purpose because she knew that if Vision goes out there, and if she probably she's keeping an eye on him, so she knows that Vision can't be touched by Wanda and controlled anymore. So she probably like, oh,
she's been keeping an eye on him since. Basically the episode. Since the first
episode, she was the first one to come in there. And
she
like,
was,
hey,
but to be more accurate, like to be like really on top of you, really look at it. It's when the episode when Monica gets thrown out of the hex. If you look at the way Agatha talked to him outside, the way she reacted to him and was like, "Go home, go inside," like talk to him, to go in there, like
but
she's playing. But
I think she's been playing it from the get go.
she might have been, but I'm just giving you like the more clearer, obvious pictures.
But the clear, obvious was for us and viewers.
Yeah.
So she gave that out in the first episode. Everyone was like, "All right, she's in."
Yeah, but the first episode, like everything that all right, straight up, like listen, everything that she's done since she's been in this shit. If you haven't fucking caught on yet, she's always there at a key point to catch something to stop you from realizing. Yeah. Like Wanda can't control that point or do something. Who's popping up? Agatha. She was there with everything with the twins. She's been there for every time somebody was trying to, she's trying to figure out the world in the first episode, the second episode. She's there helping. She is part of the game. She is working with him.
There's always something there when she's not.
Yes.
So when she was out in the front talking with Vision, and Monica was in there talking with Wanda.
No, she definitely
was in there.
What? What you mean? Wait, say that again?
There was in that episode where she gave birth. Vision was outside talking to Agatha with the.
So you're talking about the stork, the stalk? Yeah, the stork. Yeah.
Now you're looking at the next episode. What they have? A puppy. They had the tiger.
And you seen what happened with the puppy? The puppy randomly died in her arms.
No one saw it.
Yeah, exactly. Because
wrapped up and no one ever saw it. Again, I feel like it has to be Mephisto. Even though I know Nightmare's the villain of the.
He's the villain of Doctor Strange.
But makes sense in this show.
Listen, as being,
but it can't be both.
I get that, but as being not the, I would say as a wrestling fan, I'm gonna use the term, not to be a smart mark. We know before this shit even happened and came out, they said Doctor Strange, Wanda is gonna be in it, multiverse, da da da.
It's gonna lead into.
So we already kind of had that hint.
Yeah.
So people that knew that shit and everybody that's expecting it, we jumping on it. We ready to go. I feel like the better plot twist to go into, like, because we're gonna end the show and then do our theories. I feel like it'd be better to not show Nightmare, but to show Mephisto as a Thanos aspect. Yeah. No, that's what I'm trying to go towards. Yeah. Where he does that, like how Thanos smiled at the end of Avengers, and it's like, oh shit, like, because Mephisto is a character to that tier where he could be that person for a while.
Nobody that knows the comic books, he was actually part of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes.
Fucking with Thanos.
Yes.
And
he's the reason why death and everything worked. Why. Yes.
But
love that comic.
But anyhow, let's power through this because we're getting a little long.
Because we talking about a lot of it. We're bringing out a lot. Yeah.
So after that, Vision tries to go through the gate. What happens to him when he gets through the gate? He starts deteriorating, but he's alive for a time. One of our mutual friends asked me,
"Okay,
why is he still alive?"
Because they don't know nothing.
No, he doesn't. Because you don't know nothing. You know who you are. You're gonna watch this tomorrow.
I don't even know who it is. I'm just that's just me being me. Like, I know you don't nothing.
But I was saying, no. Once he passed the border, he still had Wanda's magic on him, so that's why he was surviving.
Being able to beat, and you see how his body was flying back. Yes.
And then, of course, in this goes. I'm gonna try to fast forward this. So
we can fast forward a little bit of that and go right into it.
Sword comes after him, saying like, "Oh my God!" And the leader of Sword, who I think is really Amy, he's like, "Oh, he's really trying to help. He's really trying to get out of there." And then Darcy comes out like, "Why aren't you helping him?" They chain her to a car. And I have to say that because I have another theory after this. Then Wanda's other kid, who's going to be called Wiccan in the comic books, and hopefully the show, if they make a Young Avengers show, he starts getting the power of his mother, which is more magic stuff because he stops his brother, but with a blue magic instead of red. Yeah. And then he starts hearing Vision's cried out.
Yes.
But what I mentioned to you before is like that sounds familiar to me when he was doing his psychic stuff. But if you go to Age of Ultron, I feel like that's the same psychic sound as when Vision was going like inside Ultron's mind at the end.
Yeah.
When he was like breaking everything down. So that kind of makes me like, hey, are they? Is that a hint towards like their Vision's kids, or is that like something's going on? Like Ultron's coming back.
I don't think Ultron's coming back. I think it's a mixture of, obviously he's still fucking dead if he's not in that hex. Let's just make that obvious. There is no obvious proof, because I had to double back on my last episode where I just bowed out. Yeah. There is no obvious proof that Wanda went in there and stole the body for any obvious reasons. That body is dead.
No. It's dead, but she has a body.
And it's in there, and it is what it is, and that's why
this is where Mephisto comes in.
Yeah, that's why Sword was ready, and they've been watching because they're trying to take back what they were trying to make a weapon.
All right, we're getting into theories. Let's just fast forward. All right, the kid gets the powers. Wanda is trying to teach him how to use the powers in a certain kind of way, like concentrate, blah blah blah. But right before that, we have to talk about. Because before we got to Sword and Vision,
interaction between Wanda and Silver Surfer. I mean, I did.
I know.
It's Quicksilver.
Quicksilver because Silver is in the thing.
Nah, I know, and I love Silver Surfer.
So we do have to double back. So we did the whole Vision Sword thing. So Vision comes out of Sword, out of the barrier. He's deteriorating. Sword's there. In the meantime, Wanda is in the Halloween thing, the circles, the square shit.
Basically, she's in like you could say a hayfield.
Yeah, like a town square hayfield thing. She's talking to Quicksilver. Now, the scene before, Quicksilver got on her good side after coming out of the movie theater, saying like, "I'm here for you" and all this stuff. Now, Quicksilver is poking at her. How'd you do this? Like, I'm impressed. But what you did, and she's saying like you don't think it's a bad idea. He's like, where'd you get all these kids from? Because the episode before, Vision said there's no kids. Now you got nothing but kids. And again, you gotta listen to words.
No,
so the guy's like, did you have
I'm
them
the king
sleeping?
of saying this in the words since episode 1.
So this is where it makes me think it's Nightmare, because he's like, were they just sleeping? Were they just doing this? Were they just doing that?
Yeah.
And then it goes back to. She turns away, and she turns at Quicksilver, and he's dead again. This gets into the fear aspect. Again, Nightmare feeds
Play
off
what
of
am
fear.
I? Yeah.
So it's kind of like, he's like, what? And she turns away and comes back. He's normal. Mm-hmm. And he starts getting on her bad side by saying a few things like, hey, I'm not, that's the whole thing. So now we fast forward. We get to the kid realizing like, Dad's in trouble, Vision's in trouble, he's concentrating. Quicksilver says what? Don't worry about your dead husband. He can't die twice. Blast. And then she does her power, and her power expands. Basically, she expands the hexagon that was just in the general area to more. They didn't say how much it stopped. They didn't say where it stopped. It just kept going.
It's gonna go towards New York City. She's in Jersey.
So basically, that's the end of the
mutants.
That's the end of the episode because everyone's trying to get away. But I just want two things about that. And I'm sorry if you want to jump in, just jump in. My bad. But Darcy, when Vision came out, she got tied up to a truck. I had to mention that because this is part of my theory. One of my theories of the quote unquote cameos. Mm-hmm. 2, everyone's trying to race away, but Monica and Cho.
Who?
You
told me the name and now you forgot. That's funny shit.
I'm sorry. That was a very Asian name for an Asian character. Whatever.
You ain't more Asian than a normal Asian.
Cho and Chow and who. They're all
it's all three the same, but
yeah. So they're like speeding away because they're trying to meet up with the aerospace engineer. They speed away, and hopefully they didn't get caught in a barrier. So now that's the end of the show. It's Wanda makes this big barrier to save Vision.
She
basically,
captured a lot more.
She captured more people. She expanded her reach, and her powers grew in a sense. So now theories. I'm gonna let you start because I've been talking for a while.
I just got jumping. That's man funny. I was just like bopping in my head. So, theories. Yes, Quicksilver went from being the Quicksilver of, oh, he could be X-Men, he could be da 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 da, and it says nah. The lines alone just put it out there. Like we talked about, yeah, but
just paying homage.
But the thing is, like how we said earlier in the episode, him knowing too much, and this is just a person like me who's into shit that has shit like this. You know too much. Once you said he died once, can't die twice, it was like, nigga, but you wasn't even alive when he died. Yeah. So why would you know that? Yeah. Two, Wanda from the jump when she opened that door had no idea that he was gonna be there. And this is a world that you have to accept that you know that she has somewhat of control. Yeah. So her having some semi type of control would lead to you thinking that, yeah, she knew that she would bring back her brother. Yeah. So, yeah, that's another reason we lean towards him being another entity or being a Mephisto to a Nightmare. It's just, those are all lined up. Yeah. Vision, obviously, yes, like I said before, Vision is dead. Vision, at the same time, being dead, his priority being who Vision is he's trying to help the people. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't want to hurt Wanda in the aspect because why? Because that's still his make-believe fake wife build up, da-da-da. And he's still somewhat under control. He still deals with it. Yeah. It happens. I'll go a couple of more real quick. The guy from Sword is probably going to lead towards something with Secret Invasion. I think it's a scroll. Yeah. Okay. Whatchamacallit? I think that Monica is gonna end up having powers by the last episode. Okay. I'm throwing that shit out right now. Yeah. She's gonna probably help in the fight scene.
She's gonna throw a blast or something.
Yeah. And I think the kids are literally what they are supposed to be. They're gonna be demon spawns, and Agatha is gonna be a main background character for the foreseeable future. Okay. This isn't just a one show off.
Oh, WandaVision shit. Yeah.
She's going to be around for at least Doctor Strange.
So, and I'm just going to ask you this because I'll give my whole theories and then what do you think is going to happen next episode?
Next episode, as she took over everything, we're going to see Darcy definitely become more of a main character for it in that world. Because they don't take Darcy and Darcy being a popular character for the fan base. And you bring her in there. Like, one, we're going into from the 90s to now probably late 90s, 2000. That goes into, I can't remember her real name, but Darcy's character. Yeah. That show Two Broke Girls, which is like, yes, if anybody knows Two Broke Girls, you know why I'm saying yes. And
we try to keep it PG.
Yeah. I'm trying to be nice about it. You know, if I ever run into her, I don't want her to judge me. Like, nah, I just think you're cute. Like, you know. But
get into that right now.
Yeah. I don't want to go that far. So yeah, I think it's gonna lean towards that, where her second tier character, like her character will have that, or I heard a rumor that she might become like some type of mutant. I don't know that character.
No, okay.
But yeah, apparently there's a character out there that they said that she might transform into because
this
of
is what you think is going to happen in the next
No,
episode?
I don't think. I think she's going to be a character that she knows that she's in the Hex, and she's going to try to work with Wanda, like try to figure it out. Like Wanda, like, you know, like, nah, like we good, like almost like how Monica was. Yeah. I think that we're going to get the argument of Vision and Wanda where she's gonna be like, "Why did you pass this block? What did you do?" We might get a fight scene now that we only have 3 episodes left.
Oh,
We might see these two fight each other now.
it's so sad, but
It's
I also
domestic
can't.
violence at its finest.
It's so sad, but I
Honestly.
also can't wait for Winter Soldier at the same time.
Yeah, because like we don't get a lot of the action scenes, but I think
Yeah, we
now
get
going
the
into
thinking.
3 left, the
Yeah.
3 left episodes. If you don't think Wanda and Vision ain't gonna scrap a little bit, you're
bit.
out of your mind.
You're stupid.
Honestly,
You're stupid.
so that's definitely a good possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be a lot more Sword shit where they're gonna, because now you gotta remember like Sword now is like fuck, she just took over more.
Yeah.
We had to run.
Mm-hmm.
Monica is gonna be a big part of next episode.
Yeah.
Because she's probably gonna go back into that. They said they found a way to go back into there. The guy, I can't remember his name.
The aerospace. Will.
No,
Shaw?
the bad guy from Sword.
Oh,
the white guy.
Hayward.
Hayward, yeah. Hayward found a way to go back in there. He just didn't tell them. So they're going to take that now and use that for Monica to go back in there to probably try to save Darcy. And that's where we're going to get a very interesting episode where we have Darcy trying to talk to Wanda to figure out shit because she already knows the ins and outs. To Vision arguing with Wanda that could bring shit. And then we get Monica going in there and finally becoming the character she's supposed to be by the last episode.
I agree with you on certain aspects.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my theories and then I'll give you my expectations for the next episode. So my theory is this. I think the whole Quicksilver gimmick with the like I know he's a Quicksilver in the X-Men movie.
Yeah.
I think that was just a homage because Marvel owns it now, saying like, "Hey, he could be the Quicksilver guy, but we're not." I don't think because that would have been Marvel doesn't do a here right in your face kind of thing. I honestly think that he's either Mephisto or Nightmare. He's one of those two characters, but I feel like he's more Nightmare because he got blown away by Wanda in this thing, and I don't think Mephisto would get blown away like that. But maybe, who knows? But I feel like because he played on the American Horror Story and he played these dark characters before, that he knows what he could do that character, and he kind of played a shitty dark character in this thing, like not shitty as in bad, but he played a shitty character as in like he's a piece of crap in the show, because Vision was trying to figure him out and blah blah blah. So anyway, my theory, he's either Mephisto or he's either Nightmare. I move more towards Nightmare with him because Mephisto, to me, there's because they keep hinting at the last episode super cameo. So there's only.
But you know what the super cameo is gonna be?
No, there's 3. There's 3 that I have.
Okay.
These are part of my theories. So 1, I keep going back to Darcy. Darcy gets tied up in the car. She gets part of the thing. I don't think she's gonna have control at all.
I don't say she's gonna have full control, but she's gonna be in that middle where she could go back and forth.
That's just my theory.
Okay.
I think this is where it brings in the cameo.
Okay.
It's either gonna bring in Thor or Jane Foster, but Jane Foster's supposed to be the female Thor in Love and Thunder, I think.
She's supposed to be.
I feel like one or two is either going to be Thor or Jane Foster that comes in.
I feel like
the
that's a bigger leap
Thor.
than anything I said.
So that's one.
All right.
Of the last cameos / theories. 2, the last cameo could be, and hopefully Mephisto. And then there's that hint of Magneto. Now, not saying Magneto from the X-Men movies.
No, I know what you mean.
I'm saying, if some motherfucker has a helmet, and a famous helmet, and comes down with the thing, but I'll break it down the reason why Magneto could be part of it. Even though I told somebody on Twitter, high evolutionary, but that's too deep.
Yeah.
Because they give a lot of hints to high evolutionary, but again, Marvel just does comic book fan stuff. So another theory, the reason why I say Magneto, and this goes back to what you were saying about the I don't think now from this episode, and I'm happy about it. I don't think they're gonna bring mutants into the MCU from alternate universes. I think
No, they're gonna make it. Yeah.
Because she's gonna cover the fucking world in her hex.
Yeah.
And she's going to change a lot of people's DNA to activate the X gene. Now, the House of M, the whole thing about it wasn't just Earth. It was realities. It was the time stream. It was everything. She took out the X gene. Like the whole, well, it was after a House of M, she took it out.
Yeah.
Saying the famous no more mutants. But if they're going to reverse it and do like, oh, people who got caught up in my power now has power.
Mm-hmm.
And they activated the next gene, and they gave a hint to it in this episode with Quicksilver doing I have the XY gene kind of thing. That's how I think they're going to bring mutants into it. Now, talking about next episode, and just strictly next episode, what I think is going to happen, because I know I got to wrap it up. We're getting kind of late.
I mean, we got late, but you know what? Sooner or later, it's gonna be long episode. If you want real good details, you're gonna sit down for an hour with us. Let's go.
Stop complaining.
Yeah.
But what I think was going to happen in the next episode is it's going to start off with Wanda, like it kind of started off now. With the WandaVision, probably going to have a early 2000s sitcom kind of show. I'm not sure which one. Maybe that 70s show. I don't know.
For what, the 2000s?
Yeah.
If you say the 2000s, 2.5 Men. I would say Friends, but Friends is more 90s. Big Bang Theory would be perfect.
Maybe Big Bang would be a little bit more.
There's a few out there, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
Those are the ones that I'm throwing. Just like I know from off the top of the head that would make sense for the show to do. Yeah.
So I feel like it's gonna start off with that, but it might start off how it almost started off before, where it started off with Wanda with the eye, like how she ended this episode. Then it might go to like, oh, everything's better and blah, blah, blah. And then it goes into her song, blah blah blah. And I feel like it'll play out with her like. I think it's gonna play out with her with Quicksilver, like with the blast that she did to him and all the stuff, and then he might leave. And I think that from there it's going to cut to Sword.
Yeah.
And what the hell is happening with Sword. And then I think it's going to come back to her like, everything expanded. So there's more people. There's more the carnival people. All that stuff is happening. And I feel like the main course of this one might be the carnival. Like having the weird carnival. But if you think about it, and maybe this is the other cameo that I'm thinking of, and this is a long shot. She made all these people a clown. She made a big.
She did that as a symbolism, like
as symbolism, like they're clowns.
Yeah.
Where did Ghost Rider start? The original Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze.
Listen,
he was.
I would love it, but Johnny Blaze is not popping up in fucking.
He was a daredevil guy who traded his soul to Mephisto.
Listen,
so his dad could live, and then died the next day, and he became Ghost Rider. So I'm just saying.
I love Marvel, and I love what Marvel does.
Or Nightcrawler.
They give us.
Or Blob.
Listen, honestly, listen. All right, Bob.
And I'm gonna end it with there.
Yeah, Blob. Like, we're gonna go right to the end, but I gotta get this off because I was like, oh shit, he went there. Blob, no. Nightcrawler, maybe. But Ghost Rider, if you come and you take away Jack Nicholas,
Johnny Blaze,
you give us a new person be Ghost Rider. You see that motorcycle pull up.
Oh.
You see that fucking fire.
The firehead.
My God. Like, listen, I love Ghost Rider. Nicolas Cage. No, I was going to say Nicolas Cage killed me with that freaking movie. I think Sony did it. Sony killed me with them because they did put Mephisto in that first movie.
F you, Sony.
They killed that freaking.
who
No,
they
was it
also-
no? It was a Nightmare or was it Mephisto?
No, it was Mephisto and Blackheart.
And Blackheart. That's what. And Blackheart is a beast. And this is coming again. Going to yes, yes. Blackheart is my guy.
In the game, look exactly like
Yes,
and he's
exactly.
son of Mephisto.
Yes.
I had to do the quote unquote. But anyway, we're getting really.
But no, but I just want to get that because you went into a world that I got to speak on. I got to speak on.
Sorry, that's my theories.
But listen, like that. I'm just the quick wrap up. Being crazy because it's late for us. It's late. We East Coast time is crazy.
Don't worry. Just go.
Listen, if it was episode 9 and it ends and that's how you pull up, and you have a Ghost Rider pulling up, going like he's gonna help Wanda and Doctor Strange to fight a Blackheart, a Nightmare, or a Mephisto together. You could take whatever money you need. I will wear multiple masks in that movie theater. I will be there in a heartbeat because that's what I want, and I know Marvel won't disappoint.
You're overdoing it, but I understand.
Yeah.
Just imagine. Just
No, I'm
nerd wise.
I'm just saying. Listen,
I'm
going off the fact that people want to watch a 4-hour DC movie.
Oh, we're gonna get into that, and we're gonna come out with the trailer on Sunday.
Yes.
But anyway, my thing, because I was talking about the next episode. So just think about it. She made this big carnival. Now, you know how Marvel does? They do it a little.
Yeah, but they won't. They ain't gonna give it to us in the next episode because that would give too much. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, they're not gonna give Ghost Rider. But think about it. They go to the carnival during the episode, and they go, "The Amazing Daredevil, Johnny Blaze."
And that's all.
He just.
They'd.
It's Johnny Blaze.
If he's not Ghost Rider
Motorcycle
yet,
with
and he
the
has, all right.
original symbol.
I understand what you're saying.
I
get what you're
would.
saying.
I don't know if I can make it. It's gonna be like 2-hour podcast next week.
I mean, if we get to that point, depending on what happens, it's gonna be longer pods because of the fact that I want to break down and I want to talk about it without feeling rushed.
Yeah,
honestly. So, if let's say if that would happen,
how would you feel? How would you feel?
I would probably be jumping up and down in my room, bugging out, because Ghost Rider is one of my favorite characters. Yes. And I think that is one of the cool, like, to have fucking vengeance just possible to come up on anything everywhere. Pestilence Stare. Let's go. Let's go.
But I could get really nerdy with this. Yeah, so anyway, we're gonna cut this off because we went out for long. But
we here just being overhyped right now. You know what I mean? We gotta enjoy this shit.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna just say my part on the wrap up real quick. It is your boy Drew with my man Nick right here all day, the Marvel King right here. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, we are going to talk NXT Vengeance Day Sunday night. I might try to pull it live. I might try to pull it. I'm gonna see what's gonna happen, but we're gonna talk about it because we're gonna talk wrestling. Wrestling is about to become a lot more prevalent on this fucking channel, as well as talking trailers for Marvel, DC, anything, Star Wars, whatever it is,
so
comic books.
Doing the comic book section,
yes,
so you know we good.
We're going to do a lot of this. We're double talents that could do single star shit.
Yep.
And on some real, that's how it's rolling. Nick, I don't know if you got anything to say before we close it out.
Well, I just want to say, I don't know if anybody been watching this. My sister made some stuff. So that's our logo on some cups. We're going to make t-shirts. We're going to make masks. We're going to make a lot of things.
A lot of things. We're going to be out here.
If you want some stuff, let us know.
Let's go.
We're going to get some merch out.
Let's go.
On top of that, you know how we end. We're the fucking podcast to watch now. You can find us on what?
Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, Anchor, SoundCloud. Holy shit, I think I missed one. YouTube. The video. Yes, the video one that we need. Hey, shit happens. I draw a blank. I'm out here trying to promote, say all this shit. I'm the nigga spamming. I'm that guy talking that wrestling bullshit. My boy's over here. He's the one who talks that Marvel bullshit on the Twitter. Holla at us. Have fun. We over here just trying to enjoy ourselves. It's a normal weekend. Let's go.
And you got to respect the fact that we don't remember shit sometimes. This coming off the cuff.
We real. So. We don't have nothing written down. There ain't no paper in front of me. No papers. No papers.
Like, subscribe, follow, enjoy.
You want professionalism? Pay us.
Boom.